Who doesn't love a good reunion tour? There's nothing better than hearing that your favorite band is finally getting back together.
Putting the band back together.
Forget it. No way. We're on a mission from God.
Well, in Washington, when the band gets back together, you can bet trouble's on its way. Why? Well, it means mediocre people are in way over their head, jetting across the world in their private jets and making your life miserable. And by the way, they're getting paid and you're paying for it. What are we talking about? Joe Biden getting elected president and him making his buddy John Kerry climate czar. Who's been keeping track on what John Kerry's been up to? Jesse Watters Primetime, of course. Where do we begin? Kerry may have blown his chance to be president back in 2004, but it's not stopping him from running around and playing president today, doing what Democrats do best, taking taxpayer money and using it to make your life more uncomfortable.
The energy security worry is driving a lot of the thoughts now about, oh, we need more drilling of gas. We need more drilling of this. We need to go back to coal. No, we don't. We absolutely don't.
If unabated fossil fuel is allowed to grow in these next years in a significant way, as it appears poised to do, that is a deep, unbelievably costly challenge for the world.
We have to be shutting coal plants 5 times faster. We have to be deploying electric vehicles 22 times faster.
You may not like high gas prices or rolling brownouts, but it's all for climate. The climate czar says so. And if you're not okay with what Kerry has to say, you have blood on your hands.
People forget greenhouse gases are pollution. And 15 million people a year die because of the quality of the air around the world. We're dealing with a crisis here, folks. It's a crisis made by human beings.
So you may be wondering, when did John Kerry become a climatologist? He's less qualified than pseudoscientist Al Gore. In fact, in 2009, Kerry predicted the Arctic would be melted by now.
In 5 years, scientists predict we will have the first ice-free Arctic summer.
But being wrong is actually considered an asset in government. Nobody fails up better than Johnny Boy. But maybe Biden knows something we don't about Kerry's climate qualifications.
I see Secretary Kerry and down there, and John, thanks for letting me into your old house. Appreciate it. John has forgotten more about, in my view, the needs we have for climate security than anyone that I know.
I guess that was supposed to be a compliment, but nobody knows what Biden's saying anymore. According to our investigation, the only thing John Kerry is qualified to be is a travel agent. Mr. Teresa Heinz Kerry has taken at least 40 foreign junkets since being crowned climate czar, 40, all in his private jet, which is officially called the Flying Squirrel. And the Squirrel has flown to Moscow, China, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, India, Mexico. The list keeps going. You want me to continue? London, Brussels, Paris, the UAE, Bangladesh, India, Korea, the UK, Italy, Switzerland, France, Monaco, Qatar, Germany, Sweden. It's a lot of squirrels. You may be asking who's paying for all of Kerry's private flights, the fuel, which his buddy Biden has made more expensive, the staffing. Is there a masseuse on the jet? They won't tell us. The snacks, Perrier, macadamia nuts. The climate czar's got to eat. The upkeep, who's paying for that? Is it the Heinz family fortune footing that bill? It's a lot of ketchup. We wish we could tell you how much Kerry was making, or, maybe he's paying it out of his own pocket. But the White House is stonewalling on releasing the salaries of Kerry's climate office. Of course they are. We have to assume Kerry's flying all over the world on the taxpayer dime. Why wouldn't he? But don't blame Kerry. He has no other choice but to fly private.
It's the only choice for somebody like me who is traveling the world to win this battle. I believe the time it takes me to get somewhere, I can't sail across the ocean. I have to fly to meet with people and get things done.
Okay, so the skipper hasn't done anything, actually. Under his watch, in 2021, global emissions hit their highest level in history. So not only has Kerry failed to reduce emissions, John's jet, the Flying Squirrel, has helped set a world record. Congrats, Squirrel. So whatever John Kerry's doing must be pretty urgent, right? But it has nothing to do with the climate. It has everything to do with cash. It seems like we're watching the re-upping of the Biden-Kerry globe-trotting affair. The families have a long history together. The Bidens and the Kerrys' days go way back to the Senate. And the family business partnership really picked up steam when Joe was VP and Kerry was the Secretary of State. Cutting some of the worst overseas deals, like the Iran deal, when we sent billions to the mullahs so European companies could get a piece of the action again. But it's not just their European business partners they were looking after. It was also their own families. We know Hunter and Kerry's stepson, Chris Hines, were in business together. Their crooked company, Rosemont Seneca, bankrolled millions in China. The Hunter-Hines duo had street cred too. Even the Libyans wanted to get in with them. And now we have John Kerry, who's back in business, flying private to some of the most peculiar locales on Earth on our dime. Why exactly is Kerry flying to the Mideast if he's the climate czar? Do you think he's going to convince the Arabs to go green and put solar panels in the desert? Something doesn't smell right here. Why does he keep going to places like Monaco and Switzerland and Taiwan? It's all very James Bond to me. Something tells me there are just a slew of side deals being cut with foreign firms under the radar, right? Kerry flies in, walks into the palace, maybe dangles some American aid, makes some promises that he thinks his boy Joe can keep, gets some great scoops on some hot new investments in the country. Ka-ching! Global warming is a big business if you know what cards to play. And Kerry and Biden families know how to deal from the bottom of the deck. And can we see the guest manifests on these private flights? Is Kerry taking family members? Is Kerry taking Paul Pelosi? Is Bill Clinton hitching a ride? Is the Squirrel the Lolita Express 2.0? No one knows what's going on. We can't really trust Kerry because he was caught sleeping with the enemy, cutting deals with the Iranians while Trump was president, remember? Or what about China? John Kerry spent more time as climate czar kissing up to the world's #1 polluter than he has going after them.
I am friends, genuine friends, and I admire the work that Xi Jinping has done in China. I look forward to working with China, to having, not a hardened position by either of us, but something that's based on the science.
Yeah, the science. Teresa, his billionaire wife, talk about marrying up, happens to be heavily invested in Chinese equities. So while John's giving China a pass on carbon, Biden's about to lift tariffs on him. And Biden covered up that lab leak nicely, didn't he? We're literally paying Kerry to fly to China and Russia and Saudi Arabia as if he's going to get any of these countries to go green. Only a fool would believe that. But that's exactly what John Kerry and Joe Biden think of you. You're a fool to them. Look at it this way. Why would Kerry be flying to Saudi Arabia to get him to go green while Biden is begging the Saudis to pump more oil? Does any of that make sense? Of course it doesn't. Something else is going on behind the scenes, and that something else is making people very rich. Kerry learned it from Biden himself, who flew his son Hunter over to China on Air Force Two, brought home some bacon. Remember, Joe Biden doesn't believe in growing green. His family was in business with China's biggest energy conglomerate, oil and gas. They were the ones holding 10 for the big guy. Don't forget Burisma in Ukraine. That company wasn't making windmills. They were pumping natural gas. For all we know, this climate envoy seat is probably just a smokescreen so John Kerry can be Biden's bagman. The Biden-Kerry business affair continues, courtesy of the American taxpayer. And tonight, Primetime's declaring that we have to defund John Kerry and his climate office. If we're wrong, prove it. Release the information we requested, because the whole thing stinks. And it's not just John Kerry's cologne we're talking about.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.